And now I guess we'll move on to our reviews of the Critters movies. I myself watched Critters 1 and 2. It sounds like DJ watched all of them. Steve,
Yes.
what did you watch?
I got 2 and 4.
2 and 4.
And
Brady,
Matt
did you
did
get a chance to
2
watch
and
any
3.
Critters movies?
No.
No.
What?
Oh,
I've
seen
never
it
seen
first.
Critters.
Yeah,
oh, man, you're missing out.
I've seen it.
You've seen the
It's-
first one at least.
yeah, it's
Okay.
a piece of shit.
What?
So,
You're a
So I
piece
guess,
of shit.
The critters are the most unthreatening monsters
Let's-
ever. They don't do jack shit in the
Let's
entire
stave
Critters
off
movie.
of insulting the movies until after we've talked about them, Matt.
All
Come on.
right.
so Steve, why don't you run
Teacher.
down briefly the plot of Critters 1?
I can't because I didn't watch it.
Okay, I'll run down. Basically, the plot of Critters
Oh,
1,
boy.
they're delivering dangerous criminals to some sort of colony, like space
It's like,
police.
it
and
opens in outer space with like a spaceship flying.
And they're talking about how the Crichtons or something had to eat everything on the ship, so they killed a couple of them. And they're docking all the criminals and put them in jail, and suddenly 2 of the Crichtons escape and get to Earth, apparently. And they land their
Apparently.
space, and and come out, and they wander around a bit, and there's a farm family there, and then the space colony sends 2 bounty hunters that have glowing green faces, and one's apparently some sort of rock and roll star that
Ugly.
sings a song that goes through the entire film. And then the farm family dinks around for a little bit and does their daily life. The critters show up, bite Dad's neck and shoot him with a spiny pin thingy majigger, and the bounty hunters ensue and blow shit up, and all is awesome.
Yeah, that's basically what happens. The critters look like these. The critters are they're like space
Like
aliens.
Sonic
Look
the
like little-
Hedgehog with like rabies, probably. Would
yeah,
be
they
the
look. They're
best.
about the size of a basketball, and they look like porcupines basically, but they can stand on their little hind legs and open their mouths and have big mouths full of razor sharp teeth. And then they're intelligent enough to like fly spaceships because they escaped from this prison spaceship and prison asteroid facility.
And they have some great quotes too.
They've
like
spaceship down to Earth, and I guess all they're motivated by is to eat people, so they run around and chew on people. It's what's funny to me about the Critters series is, on one hand, they're intelligent, sentient beings. They can fly spaceships and speak and run around. But then on the other hand, they also act like real mindless animals running around eating cows and
They
stuff.
just
So
want to eat. They eat and breed, and that's all they do.
You know what doesn't make any sense to me? Is that the critters
Thanks for
escape
coming,
this
Matt.
they escape this prison on this asteroid. They fly away, and they make it sound like these are the scariest monsters in the entire universe. And they go to Earth, and they make it to this, I guess, farm, and they spend the entire movie trying to kill a small family of humans whose only defense is a slow-loading shotgun. It's absolutely ridiculous. These things are freaking stupid. I think they only kill one person in the entire movie, and that was based on an act of surprise.
Yep.
And otherwise, they just they just sit there and they look frightening, but they're not frightening at all. They're fucking stupid.
Well,
It's
I
ridiculous.
disagree with Matt in the fucking stupid category, but I definitely think this kind of rode in on the coattails of Gremlins, only with less.
You can feed these guys after midnight, and it's okay.
Yeah, you can feed them after midnight, and they don't go Mogwai. But like, I don't know. I thought as far as this film goes for its time,
it's insane. They like, on one hand, they're supposed to be these fearful creatures that, oh my god, I can't believe that they broke out of a prison asteroid and flew a spaceship, and then they act like
They're
retards.
not at all. They
You
don't do
You
anything.
can kill
Okay.
them, like,
I
The
was
biggest
like,
act of violence was,
Adam.
but you know what's funny is that during the actual film, the filmmakers go out of the way to show how scary the critters are, because there's a cutaway shot and they're in a bedroom and they're ripping up a pillow.
Yeah.
Well, it's frightening.
So
and he bites off the head of E.T. of plush toy.
That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
It's scary. Yeah, the
Oh.
critters are fucking stupid.
I think the characterized Critters one would be one of the Critters quotes where they're standing in front of the door, and one critter looks at the other and says, "They have weapons," and the other one says, "So what?" And then the guy shoots him and blows him to pieces, and the other one looks over and says, "Fuck!" and then like spins off like a roadrunner. Like, that's
critters can
basically this
talk?
movie in a nutshell.
Yeah, I can talk.
Well, they have like subtitles, right?
Yeah,
and
but
subtitle.
I mean, this movie this
Hey,
movie
DJ,
wasn't meant to be
DJ.
taken personally seriously.
DJ, I thought you hate subtitles. Should
Yeah,
you hate
I think it's a
critters?
great
I
point.
hate subtitles that are in a real language. But if
Oh.
they're speaking like Cleon or something, that's cool. If
Oh, I
they
see.
because only monkeys and farts
Like,
in that
so,
language.
you're okay with Jabba the Hutt talks.
Yeah. Because you're not like, oh, fuck, he's speaking in Chinese. No,
DJ,
you're like,
you need
oh,
to stop talking.
he's speaking in
Okay.
stupid. Somebody's just like mumbling baby talking to the mic. So they
Hold
can
on.
subtitle that. That's cool. If it's a real language, they gotta interpret it in English and fuck feed it into my brain cortex.
What is that internet talk? Did I just own DJ or something?
I think-
What is that internet lingo?
Yeah, totally.
You've been
Yes.
owned.
We're gonna get DJ a T-shirt that says like "Speak English or die," and then in parentheses it says like "Unless you're a fictional space alien."
Unless you're a Klingon.
So anyway, let's since no one
So,
else.
yeah. Let's wrap
Oh.
this up. You and I will say what we each like and dislike about Critters 1 and give it a score. I like it. I think it's a fun mid-'80s total goofball horror movie, so I think I like it because it's just fun to me. I love the bounty hunter characters and how they're supposed to be these. They're just like the Critters too. They're supposed to be these badass spacefaring super killers, but on the other hand, they're total bumbling idiots. One of them, like, in order to be inconspicuous and fit in on Earth, one of them shape changes to take the form of like some hair metal rock star.
Aren't they
they're-
wearing these like 80s like black like goth trench coat?
Yeah, they look like
dress
total
thingies?
goofball. I mean, it's definitely a very time capsule sort of movie. When you watch it, it definitely looks, everything in it looks very 80s and goofy. I like it a lot. I think it's just a lot of fun. I would give this a 7 because, I mean, the only thing that I didn't like was at very, very end where like they do this thing where they have this really great gag where the critters fly a ship, and as they're leaving Earth, they shoot their laser beam at the family's house and just totally blow it up. That would be an
It's like,
awesome.
I thought that was great. That cracked
Totally,
me
that
up.
would be an awesome way to end the movie. But then, like, the family gets their house back magically, and then it looks kind
Yeah, and you know what's funny is the critter spaceship is blown up by a freaking like firecracker.
Yeah.
The whole spaceship blows.
It's
It's
stick of
retarded.
dynamite.
It's stupid.
And
It's
they
so
did
stupid.
preface that with saying that the spaceship was full of fuel, 100% stock, so they obviously don't need fuel where they're going.
So DJ,
It's stupid.
so I think it's a lot. It is stupid, but it's a lot of fun. I give it a 7.
DJ, Critters has no tits in it, so how can you like it?
Sometimes, Matt, a movie can go without tits,
Oh yes.
made up for humor and awesomeness, and my favoriteest. I would not say, as far as my vote for this movie, I would not say this is my favorite Critters movie of all time, but
because
it's definitely a
number 2
good
is
start.
favorite.
Yeah. Well, we'll get on to number 2, but I would still give this movie. I'm with Jeff on this. I'd give it a 7.5.
Oh my god.
If they had full frontal and maybe some bush, you'd get a 10.
Oh my god!
And you know, if his hot sister was like booby, I would give it a 10. And then I would up it to a 9 if they didn't bring the house back together all retarded like. But I definitely
I would
the
give it a whole
dynamite.
other point if they didn't bring the house back together. Actually, But,
Yeah. But I
So-
thought, all in all, you know, I really like puppeteer bad guys, you know, like monsters and stuff. The puppet monsters are, even though they're not as realistic as like CGI and all this other bullshit they do nowadays, I don't know, there's something more traditional that speaks to me in the heart, like watching Sesame Street for the 120th time when your little sister makes you watch it because she loves repeating the same video over and over and over and over and
What
over.
the hell are you talking about?
I don't know.
I'm gonna get a glass of wine. I'll be right back.
There's 2, right?
These are the Critters movies are New Line, right? So it can't, this
Yes.
can be like our New Line tribute as well.
Yeah,
Did New
sure,
Line
sure.
Die?
Yep.
Yeah.
They sure did.
Thanks
So
for
Steve,
your
you watched Critters
stuff.
2, right? So why don't you tell us, walk us through the plot of Critters 2?
Critters 2 is basically Brad, the little main boy from the first movie, comes back to the town after so many years, and just so happens that some critters came back too, and basically this movie is the same thing as part 1, but it's funnier, and now Charlie's a bounty hunter, and it's awesome.
Yeah, it's really good. I watched this last night, and I think it was a lot of fun. I appreciated they brought a number of people back from the first movie, including the main kid, Brad, and Charlie, his goofball friend. and also like the sheriff and a couple of the townsfolk are the same as they were in the first movie. I think one thing they do a good job of in these movies is making the town. They really put a lot of. On one hand, you can say that it's kind of slow. It's like, go ahead and let's get. I don't want to see all this stuff, but they do take the time to develop these townspeople quite a bit. So Critters 2 has a lot of that in it. You back, DJ?
And did I miss the whole Critters 2 discussion?
No, Steve was just running us down the beginning of the plot of Critters 2. I don't know, Steve, you want to continue on? I think you basically summed it up by saying it's a lot.
Yeah, it's Critters 2 is Critters 1, but with more humor and more awesomeness.
Yeah, and the critters in Critters 2,
they're smaller
prosthetic
too.
Animals they
Younger.
use, or whatever you call it, they look a lot better and they do a lot more. They move around a lot more and stuff. They have more expression to them. So I think Critters 2 improved. Now, when I watched this, I was surprised to see that it was only rated PG-13. I think the original was rated R, maybe, or was it PG-13?
How can it be rated PG-13? There are tits in the first, 15 minutes.
I noticed that, but as I put the DVD in, it said right away, this is PG-13 movie, so I was kind of surprised by that. It's sort of a hard PG-13.
Might have got lumped in with, Nell or something like that.
I wonder how many Nell references you've made on Splattercast history. It's got to be at least.
I don't know. I'm going to have to go, rent that movie again and watch it. I haven't seen her boobs in so long.
Dude, why don't you just, Google it, DJ?
Yeah, I can do that too, I guess. But anyway, Critters 2, the one thing, when you're mentioning the small town, Jeff, actually, if you watch the film all the way to the end, there are credits for the town that it was actually filmed in, Critters 1 and 2. The participation of the people that, or the townsfolk, I suppose would be the best term, in the film, they allowed them to use all the original property and stuff like that to film, so I think that added to the authenticity of Critters 2. This is definitely my favorite and all-time best Critters film. I think if one would have come out like 2 did, we would have had a perfect franchise. It would have gone into the 10s and 20s. I love the film.
I agree. It's very good. They kill a lot more people in Critters 2.
And by far the deaths are a lot better.
Yeah, there's definitely more gore and more carnage.
All the critters coalesce into this giant critter ball and just roll down the street.
Yeah, that's cool.
The critters I think the best part of the movie is the critters just totally eat this sheriff. Is it the sheriff dressed up like the Easter Bunny?
Yes, that is a great.
And
Easter Bunny gets by the critters.
Balls, and he jumps through the church. That's great.
Yeah,
we forgot to mention that the critter eggs are painted like Easter eggs.
Right.
So
These
at
the end of Critters 1, they show a shot of the family's porch, and under the porch there's, oh my goodness, a bunch of critter eggs left over. So in the beginning of Critters 2, someone finds these critter eggs and he tries to sell them to the church, and they're going to use them as Easter eggs of all things. So the old ladies in the church paint the critter eggs in pastel colors and hide them for the kids. And the sheriff of the town is dressed up as the Easter Bunny for the Easter egg hunt, and he's walking around and hatch, and they jump in his suit and eat him, and he crashes through the front window of the church in the Easter Bunny costume, all eaten up, and crashes over the altar in the church. It's really sort of sacrilegious and funny when that scene
which is why it's funny.
And what's his name from Southern Exposure is also in this. What's that? The dude, the sheriff guy that didn't get eaten. You guys are talking about. I don't remember what the hell his name is.
About Northern Exposure.
Yeah, from Northern Exposure, not Southern Exposure. That dude is that's when he comes in wheeling his gun and shooting and stuff. I thought he was really good in this, and a lot of the acting in this is, I wouldn't say top notch, but definitely middle to high, lower B grade notch, See, and then you also
if
have
a movie like this had really top notch acting, it would actually somehow make the movie worse.
Yeah.
Y'all also have that Eddie Dizen guy, from Attack of the Nerds and stuff like that. I love that guy. He's a great actor. Not a great actor, a class. He's the owner or the manager at the burger shop, the Hungry Heifer or whatever. That guy is great. I love that guy. I mean, he's annoying and his voice is bad, but I think he adds to the plot. It really makes me happy watching this film.
Right. I love that gag they do. They have these space bounty hunter characters, and they're
Ugg and Lee.
Yeah, Ugg and Lee. They're these space aliens who have these sort of shapeless featureless faces, and their thing is they can go down to a planet and like shapeshift to take on a form that's inconspicuous for that planet. So like they'll just see a picture on a newspaper and shapeshift into that form, but they'll still be wearing their same space bounty hunter outfits. So they're walking down this road. They see a Playboy laying on the ground, and one of them shapeshifts to look like the centerfold of the Playboy. So it's just I think it's a funny gag. And like when he shapeshifts into this chick, he's got this big giant staple in his stomach because it was the centerfold. I think it's me. And then I want to ask DJ. DJ, say you're walking down the street and you meet this space bounty hunter, and you sort of have a notion that I guess if we're going to fit him into any of our notions of gender, it would probably be a male. But he shapeshifted to be a perfect mimic of a very hot Playboy centerfold. Would you bone that space alien?
Well, as long as the plumbing's there, I think I'm in.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, if you run into a chick and she talks like this, probably not going to have sex. But if she has the voice too and everything,
yeah, she has the voice and everything.
If you don't know what you're going into, it all feels good and looks good. It's good.
Right.
Right? I mean, come on.
The crying game.
See, I'm on the fence about that one. I think
and plus, it's an alien anyway. You don't know what gender an alien is. I mean, come on. If like Jabba the Hutt came up to you and turned into a hot chick, you'd be like, worm. I don't know what gender that is. Sure, why not? Ugh. And you'd be done. And that's cool,
So I think
and
we
you
can
don't
go
have to
ahead
worry about impregnating her either because your sperm's probably not...
If you're going to do that, just don't buy condoms from the dollar store.
Yeah. So we could probably go ahead and rate Critters 2. It sounds like Steve, DJ, and I all liked it quite a bit. I think this is at least as good as the first one, and it trumps the first one in terms of, the critters are more elaborate, there's more of them, and they do more. Finally, we get some people actually killed by the critters and stuff. So I would give this a 7, the same as I scored the first one. I like Critters 2 a lot, and I would say it's probably better than the first one, but I'll score them the same because I give the first one props for being first. Steve, what do you think of Critters 2?
I'm going to rate this on like the typical Jeff scale, not the average 7, so I'm going to give this an 11 out of 10.
Awesome. I'm okay. I can see that score being. It makes sense to me. Jay, what about you?
I can't stretch quite as far as Steve to go into the 11s, but this is definitely a perfect 10. If I were ever to like take a dump and turn it into a film, I would expect this to be like the perfect film that would come out of that turd. Now, I would only hope that my film could be as good as Chris. And in fact, Dead Lantern, we're striving for the wrong thing right now. We should definitely be
we should crap and try to make a movie out of it.
Yeah, exactly. We should be aiming and hoping that it'll turn into Critters 2 someday. And people like us will watch it and enjoy it for a lifetime, maybe even longer.
Very good. Now, DJ, I think you're the only one of us who got a chance to see Critters 3. So do you want to run down Critters 3 real quick? I haven't got a chance to see it. I'm actually getting it from Netflix later in the week, so based on what you tell me here, I may or may not watch it.
Critters is an interesting sort of franchise. It starts out on like a middle of the mountain thing, gets to its peak at 2, and then comes back down to almost the quality of Critters 1 when it gets to installment number 3. Critters 3 is basically, it starts out, there's some people you might recognize. Leonardo DiCaprio is in this particular film. Andy something or other, a really old lady that you see in every single like Matlock episode and all that is in this film. And there's a few other like surprise stars in this particular movie. But basically it's based around a family that lives in a shitty apartment complex in a city and a guy that's trying to run them off so that he can turn it into some sort of mall. And so you have like a dirty kind of postmodern punk guy living in the basement letting rats out into people's houses in order to scare them off. And they're down to 4 tenants. And apparently they bring the critters with them from the forest back to the city. And they get into the basement.
Don't they? It's been a while since I watched it, but didn't they like drive through the city from the first 2 movies or something? It's been a long time
they drove by it. They met the funny
Charlie.
guy they met Charlie in that particular deal when they're in the forest, and they find a couple of the eggs like jump onto their truck or something and go with them. And then Charlie gives him like a mystical bullet that has electronics in it or something, and it doesn't do anything. And so I don't know what that bit was about. But then they get to the apartment complex, and the critters eat the guy that's trying to destroy the apartment complex. And then there's a fat lady that can't act at all, and they bite her leg, and she screams a little bit, and then they kill a couple more people. They kill this jerk guy that apparently owns the place and was paying.
Hey guys,
yeah,
I have breaking news.
Awesome.
I just beat the single player on Super Smash Brothers Brawl.
The adventure mode or like the fighting?
Yeah, the adventure mode.
Is that cool?
Yeah, it's actually pretty fun. A little cheesy,
A little fleshed out, actually. Like there's quite a bit to it.
Yeah.
Alright, so Brady, if you had to score the Super Smash Brothers Brawl adventure mode
On our world famous 10-point scale, what would you give it?
Oh, I'd probably give it an 8. It's a little tacked on, but it was still fun. I was compelled to beat
Think
it
it all the way through
I
it.
just did,
Well, cool.
so,
Which
yeah.
character did you use, or do you actually? I heard
But
you.
you
use
actually
multiple.
don't get a choice. They kind of force you into you have to play all the characters. So.
Okay, wild. That's cool. All right.
Oh,
very
uh,
good. Now back to your regularly
Matt, if you had
scheduled,
to rate your dead silence right now, what would you give it?
12 out of 10.
Okay, so I'll get down to the nitty gritty. Anyway, they start the building on fire. The critters come up and attack. They jump out of the window, and finally they fortify the top floor, and they kill off the rest of the critters by smothering them, hitting them with a flashlight, and shooting them. And finally they escape to the top of the building where, lo and behold, someone comes to rescue them. Critters number
now, do
3. Go on, Jeff.
I was going to ask, in the first two, I really enjoyed the Space Bounty Hunter characters. Do they bring those guys back in Critters 3 at all, or no?
Ugg has a short bit in Critters 2. As you know, the other guy died in Critters. Critters 3. In Critters 2.
Yeah, they beat her while she was in hot chick mode.
By this point, Charlie is the hero. Charlie is in all four
Yeah,
movies.
and Charlie shows up at the end and blows up the door, kills a bunch of the critters. And there
Guys, I have breaking news.
Yeah.
The first critter still sucks.
Oh. Well, if you were paying attention, we all agreed that the second one is the superior one, so I'm okay with you saying the first one sucked.
They all suck.
Number 3 has some great jokes in it. Some of the stuff the critters say are pretty good. There's a few pointless scenes where the critters just go on wandering around the kitchen eating stuff for no apparent reason. And there's some fart jokes where one of the critters eats a bunch of beans and like lets loose a bunch of farts and stuff like that. And one of them drinks soap and like blows soap bubbles all over the place. And the other one gets bleach in his eye and it burns half of his face off for no apparent reason. And I think 3 was released about the same time as Gremlins 2, the new batch. So I think they were trying to New Line Cinema was really trying to rip off of the kind of puppet humor that they got from Gremlins 2 and go with it, you know. And then if you look, not Gremlins, Critters 4 was released almost months after Critters 3 was released, so.
Okay. So what was your score for Critters 3?
I'd give it a 6.
I mean, if someone loved Critters 1 and 2, would you recommend they watch 3?
Yeah, the daughter in Critters 3, she's like 15, she's pretty hot. And,
Okay, with that we'll move on. Now, 4, correct?
Yeah, Critters 4 would come after 3.
Right.
Steven,
if you saw Critters 4.
You're gonna take that from him, Jeff?
Yeah, because we're on the same page about Critters, so I'll take it. Steve, why don't you run us?
Critters 4 takes place right after the end of Critters 3. I looked it up. I guess it's been a long time, but Critters 3 ends with Charlie finding the last 2 critter eggs in the basement or whatever of this apartment building. And that's the same opening scene of Critters 4. Charlie is about to destroy the last 2 eggs. These are it for the Krites, whatever they're called. And he has this crazy little belt thing that starts going off, and this hologram of Ugg tells him that he can't kill them because now they're an endangered species. Which doesn't matter. So they whatever, the Intergalactic Space Council that Charlie works for now. They send this pod, and Charlie is supposed to put the eggs in it, and the pod will be shot out into space, and the critter eggs will be protected while simultaneously keeping them from killing people. Well, Charlie crawls all the way inside the pod, and for reasons that it's never really explained, the pod closes, and he gets put in suspended animation, and the pod launches into space, and he's found by this like space salvage ship like 50 years later. It's like in 2050 or something like that, and there's this kind of motley crew, like Angela Bassett's in it. She's just the one chick that's there for tits. There's a kid, a captain, this like muscle.
Actually, I don't think they show her tits though. They only show her ass.
Well, you get like some side boob in one shot, but
yeah, but you don't really get a nipple in there. So that's like looking at a girl in a G-string. You're not seeing everything.
So does this one take place sort of more in space then, Steve?
yeah, this is like no, it doesn't sort of take place in space. It takes place in
Does
space.
space?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the fourth Leprechaun movie where they're, hey, let's put the Leprechaun in space. It's the exact same thing, but it's awesome. It's critters.
Jason in space. Yeah, this does have Brad Dourif in it as well, or Dourif, or
is he the
oh,
captain?
Chucky? Chucky. Yeah, he's the glasses guy.
Yeah, all right. His Albert, but it's 2 words. His name is Al, and his last name is Bert, for whatever reason. But so the crazy the captain of the ship is like losing his mind. He tries to hit on Angela Bassett, and none of his crew respects him.
You saying you'd have to be insane to hit on Angela Bassett?
Well, he like just walks
The 80s
around
you
the tower and like expects to get some, and she knocks the shit out of him. So
Yeah.
he's losing his mind, and he goes and blows open the pod, and Charlie comes out, and at the same time the critter eggs hatch, and the critters kill the captain and are loose on the pod, and they find a way to like breed super quick because they just happen to land on a space station that has equipment to let things breed on their own. And so now it's up to Charlie and the rest of this crew to kill the last 2 critters, which soon become the last like 10 critters.
Don't forget to explain the nuclear holocaust that is awaiting in the Indian
Oh yeah,
room.
there's this, for whatever reason they get contacted by this like evil space corporation that tells them, hey, go get the pod for me, don't open it, whatever. But they have them rendezvous at this like abandoned space station that's going to like, its nuclear core is going to blow up in like 3 hours or whatever. So yeah, they're having to fight critters and like stop a nuclear meltdown, and it doesn't quite work out for them.
So how do the creature models look in this one? Are they pretty well animated, and they move around and do a lot of
I
stuff?
think they're just as well as the rest of them. There's one funny shot where Charlie, his I don't know, whatever gun that Ugg gave him in like 1, 2, and 3, it doesn't work anymore. It falls apart. Charlie has a history with duds, and so he picks up this new laser gun and he shoots it at the critter, and it's not powerful enough to like kill him, but it melts all the hair off, so there's this one like bald-headed critter running around the rest of the movie.
And there's a great scene in the movie where apparently Charlie has been in this cocoon or casket or whatever for hundreds of thousands of years, and Earth is now
it was 53, DJ.
Oh, whatever. Anyway, so
Our
apparently-
notions of time and space aren't the same for DJ.
So anyway, he's been in there for a while, and when he gets out, this guy's like, "Yeah, I have this priceless antique. It's like a Colt 45 or something like that." And he's like, "I have 7 bullets left," and he hands him this gun. "Do you know how to use this thing? I've never even seen one operated." And he's like, "I'm a 35 or a 38 special man myself." And he like loads it up, and he's like, "Yeah." And then he blows out all the controls in the spaceship. And
Yeah, they're one of the 2 main critters is like loose on their spaceship, which is their only way off of the station that's about to explode in like an hour. And Charlie just unloads his gun in the spaceship cockpit and kills the critter, but kills their ship too.
Yeah,
So
and then this
because
is where
Charlie is like a special needs hero.
Well, he definitely has that special needs look. He's like got the big gap in the southern draw and everything. But Steve will have to fill in at the end. I watched this right up until Ugg shows up with like stormtroopers of some kind, and they're apparently going to take back the ship and get all the critters and everything. And I don't know, I didn't watch all that because of the Splattercast started. I got to that far.
Well, you were just watching that this evening.
Yeah. Well, I watched 1 and 2 yesterday, and as soon as I got home from work, I started watching 3 and 4. But I got to the last 15 minutes of 4, and then the cast started, so I couldn't finish it.
So
Steve, you'll have to finish this one off for me. It looked like it was starting to turn into something good besides just a bunch of pill poppers and retards.
Yeah, it turns out that old Ugg, our no-face friend from the first 3 movies, in 50 years he's ended up, I guess, stopping being a bounty hunter, and he's gone to work for this evil corporation. He ends up turning evil, and thanks, Matt.
Matt apparently
Oh shit! Are we still doing the cast? Christ! God.
No, Christ.
Oh Christ!
Anyways, Ugg turns bad, and Charlie ends up having to kill Ugg to save his friends, and they blow up the ship, or blow up the plant with the critter still on it at the end.
Ugg doesn't remember him at any point and be like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Ugg remembers him, but Ugg is a bad guy now.
Oh.
That's kind of an interesting choice, I guess.
Yeah, so I would
what do
have
you guys think of it? What would you score Critters for?
I'd give it a 6. It's better than 3, but it's better
than 3.
it
is.
So it sounds like we'd probably rank them maybe 2, 1, 3, 4 from best to worst.
2, 1, 4, 3.
2, 1, 4, 3. Okay.
Yeah. Critters 4. I thought it had a really good plot, and I thought it was going somewhere.
Oh God.
But then they didn't do anything with it. Where it could have been really interesting, they just drew it out really long, and then
no, it was just.
And there's a lot of really bad grainy footage too. Someone had dropped the nice camera, and so they were shooting on the backup camera half of the time, and so the footage in the basement and stuff like that was all grainy and crappy and everything. And I don't know if they were going with some sort of effect to get that quality, or if they just didn't have any budget because this franchise had run its course. I don't know. But I think I'd give this film a 4, maybe 5.
Okay, well, cool. So that's the whole entire Critters franchise. Critters episodes 1 through 4. I think Steve and DJ will agree with me, and Matt, of course, won't because he's a killjoy and hates fun. But the Critters series is a lot of fun, and I could recommend anyone check out, especially Critters Part 2 and maybe Critters Part 1. I haven't seen 3 and 4, but I have them on the way from Netflix because I was hoping I'd get them in time for this, but I didn't end up getting them in time. But I'll probably still watch them now that when they show up in my mail because it sounds like they were fun enough.
They're definitely watchers. After watching Critters, I definitely want to go back out and watch Gremlins 1 and 2 again.
Yeah,
probably
we should do a series of miniature creature movies. We could do Ghoulies and
Oh, I love Ghoulies. Ghoulies awesome.
We already did Troll, I think, so.
The toilet scene where the creature comes out and tries to bite his butt, I love that.
Yeah.